you. Look at all the books you have. You need a shopping cart to get home.
Welcome back to the channel, and huge thank you to all the people that have been commenting on the videos, watching the videos, subscribing to the channel, liking the videos. Thank you so much. So this is a book haul video. A book haul video already? What? This is a book haul video because I've had just a load of really good luck recently. And just to clarify something, I have been getting rid of quite a lot of books as well. So I got rid of about 40 books recently, and I've got another load of books I'm going to be getting rid of as well, some doubles and stuff like that. So that's all good. And so I have got quite a lot of books to show you, but I've got rid of more, so it's all good. Right, so what have I been finding out in the wild? It's quite cool. I now have the last of the Sword series, so I wanted to reread these. Fritz Leiber, Fafhrd and Grey Mouser stories. So now I've got Swords Against Wizardry. That was the last one I needed to complete the 7 books. So I have that now. I can reread them. I'm going to do that very soon. So very excited about that. I've started reading this straight away. So I found this and I really wanted to get it. I'd heard about it for years, never read it. Tau Zero. It's a classic science fiction book from 1970. Very influential book. I wasn't sure what I think of it, because it's also got a reputation of being a hard science fiction book, and really loving it. I'm going to finish that today, and I'm intrigued to know what's going to happen. But more importantly, I think it's just really good. So I will talk about this more on the channel, but Tau Zero I now have, and very close to finishing it tonight. I have found a Robert Silverberg book called A Time of Changes, and I've got loads of other Silverberg books, but this is one I didn't have, and it was in there also in FOP's awesome 2 for £7 offer when we went to FOP. So that was awesome. I got a few of these 2 for £7 books, so that was really cool. Also, big shout out to Ollie from Criminolly. I now have The Talented Mr. Ripley. So again, the 2 for £7 offer. Patricia Highsmith. They've got a few Patricia Highsmith books in their 2 for £7 offer. So if I like this, I could delve further, but this seemed to be the logical one to get because it's her most famous one, and I like the idea of it anyway. So hopefully this will go down a treat. So The Talented Mr. Ripley, I now have that. Influenced by Ollie. This is not influenced by anyone except the fact I've read the back, and I haven't read The Master and Margarita yet, but I've got a new book by Mikhail Bulgakov, The Heart of a Dog, and it sounds crazy. So I'll just read a bit of the back. A rich, successful Moscow professor befriends a stray dog and attempts a scientific first by transplanting into it the testicles and pituitary gland of a recently deceased man. A distinctly worryingly human animal is now on the loose, and the professor's hitherto respectable life becomes a nightmare. An absurd and superbly comic story. The classic novel can also be seen as a fierce parable of the Russian Revolution. All right, so The Heart of a Dog, that's also on my reading list. I found another Robert Silverberg book. So this is part of the Hard Case Crime series. Found this in Forbidden Planet, and I had a really good visit in Forbidden Planet, and I found The Hot Beat, Robert Silverberg. So I knew he'd written some different kind of things. I don't know what this is like, but I was definitely intrigued to read it. I've got a few in the series anyway, plus I'm buying Robert Silverberg books, so this was an interesting find. It's also about a musician, so this would go well possibly with my Spring Me a Melody event, going through all spring, reading books about songs or music. So this could be part of that, which is nice, very nice. This is a book that I've got that's been influenced by Willow from Books and Bow. So Willow has a fantastic channel, Books and Bow, which I definitely recommend you look at. And I did mention them recently in the BookTube celebration thing, because I talked about their championing of Korean and Japanese literature. But there was a video that they did which was about several people are typing, and Willow described this as a Kafka-esque comic sci-fi horror or cyber horror kind of thing, and I was totally sold on the review. So we'll see what I think, but yeah, it sounds really interesting. Several people are typing. A man's consciousness is transplanted into a computer, and he can't get out, and he's trying to get out, and he's messaging all his co-workers to say that he's trapped in the system. I think that's the setup. So we'll see what comes of that, but I'm very excited to read this. Several people are typing. I found this was a random find in a charity shop, but I was very keen to read this because I think she seems to be a very funny person, naturally funny person. Victoria Coren, and this is a book about her poker playing. So she's a presenter on TV. I think she's a comedian as well, but she's certainly a presenter, and famously she's married to David Mitchell. When you see her on QI and all sorts of other things, she's just naturally very funny. So yeah, I like her as a person, as far as I know. And this, I'm imagining this will be very witty. So this is about her experiences as a poker player, because she's also now known as a great poker player. So For Richer for Poorer, Confessions of a Player by Victoria Coren. Okay, I managed to find this, which is really unusual. Any time I find an Ursula Le Guin book, I'll get it if I haven't got it. So I don't know if I included Ursula Le Guin on my Auto by Authors video. I probably did. I think I did. But anyway, I found this, The Birthday of the World and Other Stories. So I didn't know this book. And I got a whole bunch of her books there, look, including that really big box set there. That box set's got about 8 books in it. But yeah, I found this, which is really intriguing. So that was a nice little find. Ursula K. Le Guin. And this is the second of the 3 graphic novels by Rob Davis that I need to get, because I borrowed them. They blew me away. I did a video about them, but I've still got my friend's copies, and I want to get my own version. So The Motherless Oven, which is the first book of the 3. So I've got this and the Book of Forks. I need to get the second one, and I have all 3 of them. But I absolutely love this series. I love these 3 books. They're so brilliant. So if you're curious, if you're like, what's he talking about? I did a video about the 3 books, which I will try to remember to link in the description, because it's such a fantastic graphic novel series. It's really, really cool. And it's completely mad as well, but really inventive, and I love it. So I've got 2 out of the 3 now, which is great. I bought this because there was a bunch of Richard Lehman books in front of me, and I wasn't massively sold on him, but I don't know, it kind of intrigued me in a, I don't know, staring at a car crash kind of way. But then The Travelling Vampire Show, that title grabbed me. The Travelling Vampire Show, that sounds like a book you need to read, especially by somebody so visceral as him. So I thought I'll give it a go. So I got that. That was a second-hand purchase. I found The Broken Sword by Pal Anson. So The Broken Sword is a kind of a important book in the development of fantasy. So this was one I just found. I thought I'd get it secondhand, so that was cool. I think I've already got this one, but I panicked and got it just in case. So this is A Graveyard for Lunatics. This might be the second copy. If I go up in a loft and I find I have got it, then clearly that's a double I can get rid of. But I wasn't absolutely sure, and obviously I'm doing this Ray Bradbury dive. This is one of his latest ones. So I think if I can quickly look to see when it came out. It came out in 91, yeah, or 1990, published from this publisher in 91. So it's very late in his career. So I won't get to this for a while in the deep dive, but if I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I got it. So I have it now. I found a H.G. Wells book I didn't have, The World Set Free. So again, if I see H.G. Wells and I don't have it, I'll get it. So that was one of those. And another appearance by Pal Anson and this is The Boat of a Million Years. I think this is another time dilation book, but this is infinitely bigger than Tau Zero. This is at least probably about 4 times bigger. So this is going to take a while to read, but I was intrigued. Time dilation is fascinating. So there we go, it's those. Brian Aldiss, The Saliva Tree. I've never heard of The Saliva Tree, but it's Brian Aldiss. And it's called The Saliva Tree. Clearly, I was intrigued. So this is a new collection of stories from Britain's top science fiction writer. In this case, it's more than a collection of short stories. The Saliva Tree is a spectacular short novel written to mark the centenary of H.G. Wells' birth and winner of the first prize in the annual ballot held by the Science Fiction Writers of America, the coveted Nebula Award. Okay, and then 9 other stories. So this was the Saliva Tree got the Nebula Award, first ever Nebula Award. So that's interesting. So anyway, Brian Aldiss, a very important writer. This was a funny one. So William Tenn is a very important science fiction writer who has at least 1, possibly 2 books in the SF Masterwork series, and he's been up for awards before. I don't know if he's won any, but anyway, I read the one. I'm pretty sure it's called Of Gods and Men. Wasn't massively fussed by it, but this is a group of short stories, and it just intrigued me a bit. So I'm giving this one a go. So I'm giving William Tenn another go. So this could be good. And then this is a weird one. This is a book about Adam Link Robot by Yando Binder, and this is one that is obviously Asimov influenced, and Asimov has actually got a little blurb on the front as well, talking about how great this book is. And I just I thought, there's a few these vintage science fiction books I found that I thought, am I going to see these again? So I grabbed them. So, some of these are from a shop that we discovered in Alton. So if you're in the UK, if you live in Surrey or Hampshire or Sussex, and you're capable of getting to Alton, there's a fantastic second-hand bookshop. It was huge. It was brilliant. The stock there was amazing. Alton second-hand bookshop. That's where some of these are from. I also got another time travel book that I'd never heard of called The Time Shifters by Sam Merwin Jr. So this is kind of like a time police kind of thing where they're trying to correct issues with time. So Time Shifters. So I haven't read it yet, but this is another time travel one, so I thought I'd go for it. Again, like all these great vintage covers, awesome. And I got The Silver Eggheads by Fritz Lieber. This looks like it's a parody of publishing set in a science fiction context. So this looks really good. And I've got a few other non-Fafnir and Grey Mouse of Fritz Lieber books that I want to get into. I did read something in the distant past, but I can't remember what it was. But I definitely haven't read this. So The Silver Eggheads was another one I found. Another great vintage cover. So I found the sequel to Fuzzy Nation. I was so pleased to see the sequel to Fuzzy Nation. I said there were some great things in here. That, for me, is a great thing because I really like the original book. So Fuzzy Sapiens was a fantastic find for me. Really excited to see this. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? And then, just as luck would have it, there was another H. Beam Piper book, Empire. So I've got Space Viking as well, which I think I've shown up before. And I've got that now as well. So I've got a few H. Beam Piper books. So that's very exciting. I have got a few anthologies here. So I've got this one called Alien Worlds. And as you can see, you got Paul Anderson, Robert Bloch, John Brunner, Philip K. Dick, Campbell that we've just seen, Robert Sheckley, Clifford Simak, and John Wyndham. Loads and loads of big names there. So that looked like a really interesting book to get. The Frozen Planet and 4 other science fiction novellas. This was interesting as well because I was intrigued by the cover, and I thought, well, what's inside the book? It's a classic vintage science fiction book, and then I noticed that one of the stories was written by Daniel Keyes. The Quality of Mercy. I've got a feeling that I've read The Quality of Mercy, and it's in a couple of other anthologies I've got, but I'm not absolutely sure. So anyway, I got that as well. And then the John W. Campbell, there he is again, Memorial Anthology, edited by Harry Harrison, Asimov, Bester, Simak, Sturgeon, loads of good people in here. I thought what was interesting as well was clearly the person that had this before thought there should be a contents page because he wrote his own contents page in the book. So that's quite funny. Anyway, so there's that one. And then before I go away from those small paperbacks, I've got another John Steinbeck book. So I've got quite a lot of John Steinbeck books. I must have, I don't know, about 12 of his books now. I'm not sure. But Sweet Thursday, I never had Sweet Thursday. So I've got that now, which is really exciting because this, I think, is a follow-up to Cannery Row, which is my favourite, well, second favourite Steinbeck book. I think it's... yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's the same people that are in Cannery Row. So that's really cool. So Sweet Thursday is now available for me to read. So that's really cool. And I could read this on Summer of Steinbeck event that MJ's doing at Reading This Life. If that sounds intriguing, Summer of Steinbeck, check out MJ's account, her channel, and she does talk about Summer of Steinbeck, and I'll leave a link below as well. So there's that one. And then 3 to finish. I'm aware I wanted to get under 20 minutes. Not sure if I can, but yeah, I don't think I can. Anyway, these are the last 3. So I was influenced by Steve Donoghue because I love the 14th century, and this is a book that he's talked about that's all about the 14th century, and I found this secondhand, had to get it. So this is going to be one of the things I read in the next quarter of the Historathon 2023, because this fits into the next period, and the next period is probably my favourite period for history. So and the 14th century especially. So I've already read a little bit of this today, and I like the way it's written, so it should be really interesting. So there we go. This was one that was on Steve Donoghue's. It was the first one of his book club. So there we go. There's that one. And another shout out to another booktuber. Michael K. Vaughan has talked about the John Carter books, and I have actually got 6 of them already anyway, but this is the first 5 in a big volume, a big omnibus edition, and it does mean I now have access to the Cheesemen of Mars and the Warlord of Mars, which are 2 of the ones I didn't have. So technically that means I've got 8 that I could possibly read, depending on if there's any gaps in between. But yeah, that's quite a nice little compendium of the first 5 books. So and it's big old hardback. And then this one I'm leaving till last. This was so exciting, so exciting. So I have raved about Yahtzee Croshaw a lot on this channel. If you look at my video on comic stuff, like comic science fiction, and there's all sorts of times I've recommended him, but I didn't know this existed. So this is a new book, Existentially Challenged, a novel by Yahtzee Croshaw. I will read you the back. With magic declassified in the UK, the fake psychics and fraudulent healers are running amok, and it's up to the Department of Extra-Dimensional Affairs' newly appointed skepticism officers to crack down. But when they set their sights on Modern Miracle, a highly suspicious and fast-growing faith-healing cult with remarkably good social media presence, even their skepticism is put to the test. So yeah, it's a comedy about that kind of thing, and so pleased to have found this. So pleased to have found this. So there we go. Existentially Challenged by Yahtzee Croshaw. I was so pleased to see this, and I didn't know it existed, and I'm a big fan of Yahtzee Croshaw. There we are. Easter bunnies, chocolate, loads of books. Hope you've had a lovely Easter break, and here's to finding beautiful things out in the wild that get you all excited about reading. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.